to give a title to today's homily, I think we should call it The True World Order. The True World Order. As opposed to the New World Order. So we're going to have to do some heavy lifting to get to the point where we can show the difference between the true world order and the new world order. First thing we have to do is take a look at Scripture, especially this Scripture passage today. The disciples had an experience of the risen Lord. And our faith is based on their testimony that they saw Jesus risen from the dead. And yet there were many questions regarding this raising of someone from the dead because they had no experience ever to compare it with. And so, of course, some people said, well, the body was stolen. Now, possibility. They didn't see the risen Lord themselves. Case could be made that it also happened to Jimmy Hoffa. Right? Possibility. However, it was interesting that all those disciples, except for John, testified that they saw the risen Lord, and none of them ever went back on their story, and they were willing to give their lives for the truth of what they believed and what they taught throughout the known world at the time. So it gives us a little more of a cushion of belief. Some people, and even to this day, will say it was simply something that took place in their minds. It was only something that took place in their heads. And it really wasn't a physical resurrection. Now, the Gospels guard against this heresy too. Why? Today we have Thomas, and he's right. If someone came to me and said to me, I saw your Father, he is risen from the dead, I would say to them, I don't believe you. My father was a great man, but I don't think he rose from the dead. Either that person is hallucinating, is drinking, or is playing a cruel joke on me. This person's imagination. He imagined he saw my Father. Possible imagination. Gospels protect against all of that because Thomas says, I will not believe until I touch him. That's the big difference in the whole world. This is not something in the imagination. This is not a ghost. I want to put my finger in the nail marks. I want to put my hand in the side. And yes, indeed, this is the real Jesus risen from the dead. My Lord and my God, now I believe. This puts us in a whole new realm, a whole new reality for believers, because we now have sure testimony that, yes, this Lord who was crucified on Good Friday is indeed risen from the dead. And as the story develops, it is the most important statement that Christians can make, and it goes throughout the world from that Easter Sunday until today. St. Paul says, if we don't believe in the resurrection, we are the most foolish of men. Nothing else makes any sense unless we believe in this resurrection. And we have some proof. We'll have more as the Easter season continues, but we also have the testimony of the apostles who gave their lives for the truth. With the resurrection of Jesus, we have the true world order. What does it mean? It means that what has happened to Jesus, we believe will happen to us too. And so it turns reality upside down. Reality insofar as, where am I going in my life? What is going to happen to me? And, of course, how should I live my life? If the resurrection is true, then I have a different way of looking at reality and of living my life. That's what we have here scripturally. Now, in the liturgy, we have to reflect the same thing. And this week, Easter week, is called the octave of Easter. 8 days. Octave 8. It comes from the idea of the 7 days of creation. Remember the book of Genesis. Now in Genesis, God created the world in 7 days. Why 8? 8 is the beginning of a new creation. It's something God has done completely new from the old creation, or the first creation. And man, in the person of Jesus, now takes upon himself the hope of immortality, of being raised from the dead. And so that is the true world order. We see the plan. We see what God inaugurated in the beginning, fulfilled in Jesus, and that we have the same end goal for ourselves. So now, this is the true world order. There are those who do not believe in the true world order because it is detrimental to their view of man. See, in the true world order, who's in charge? God. By the power of the Spirit, Jesus is raised from the dead. It's God's rule, the true world order. But we have those today who talk about a new world order. Who controls it? Is it God? Who does? Man controls the new world order. We can see the beginnings, if not the beginnings, we are in the midst of this new world order, trying to limit human beings, to limit our freedom, to limit the great horizon of the resurrection which God has called us. Because in the new world order, all that matters is now. And who controls the new world order? Is it God? We said no. Who is it? It's the elites that try to control humanity and make humanity into their own image and likeness and not into the image and likeness of God and in Jesus and his resurrection. Let me give you some names. Tell you what's going on. Maybe you should turn on your cell phone, take notes. Okay. Where do we see the beginnings of this new world order? Those who wish to control the food supply. You hear about a food shortage? It's coming. Well, there are certain people who are buying up thousands and thousands of acres where we plant our wheat and our other crops. I think it's a fellow named Bill Gates who's doing that. cutting down the number of animals that are bred for our consumption. There's going to be a food shortage. One of the ways we control people with food. Control people with food. They'll do anything. We'll do anything to survive. Control finances. Oh, Big Brother knows exactly what you have in your bank account. And knows where you're spending your money too. And knows those things that you like, those things that you dislike. And then has plans to establish equity on the earth. Everybody will share as much as we think that they are capable of sharing. And that way, everything kind of gets evened out. You ever hear of the World Monetary Fund? World Economic Fund? When you go home, look up a man named Klaus Schwab. Take a look at that. That's the new world order. World Economic Forum. We'll level things out. We'll tell you how much you can have. We'll make sure everybody gets something, but not too much. Not too much. What about population control? Have you heard about that? We'll tell you how many children you can have. We'll supply you with everything necessary to prevent the birth of children. And yet we have a birth dearth in the world, even in China. We want to cull the population. We want to control the number of people. We want to limit families or destroy families. That's part of the new world. And what about open borders? Have you heard about that? Who's behind that? Oh, a man named George Soros. Why open borders? One world. One world. People lose control of their country, lose control of their lives, lose control to some elite authorities that tell people where they can live, how many children they can have, what they can spend. That's the New World Order. Jesus came to give us freedom. Spiritual freedom. Here in the gospel today, he went right through the door. Nothing stopped him at all. That's freedom. Where not even a door or concrete can stop you. Jesus didn't come to stop us, to limit us, but to give us freedom. That is the essence of the resurrection. Human freedom. You have to decide. Do you belong to the true world order, where you enjoy the freedom of the children of God? Or you want to be part of a new world order, which makes all of us slaves? God love you.